Alright everybody, and welcome to this very exciting 2015 Pokemon Video Game Regional Championships here in Singapore. My name is Shang Lo, and joining me on stream here today is my good friend and co-commentator, Amir.
Hello, well, as we said, welcome to the regionals, Singapore regionals. For today we have quite a decent turnout with 57 masters and 15 seniors. The masters will be playing for 6 rounds, and we'll have a top 8 top cut for them. While the seniors will have 4 rounds of Swiss, and we'll have the top 4 for the top cut.
I think this is the first time in Singapore that we've ever had a tournament that actually has a senior division on its own. Usually we don't have enough seniors and they end up having to play against the masters as well. So it's good to see that more seniors are getting into the game and new blood basically for the future generation.
The more the merrier, yeah. So now let's see what we'll prepare for the first round.
We have a very interesting pairing right from the get-go with round 1 here with 2 rather well-known players facing each other off in the first round of Swiss. We have Derek Lee and Melvin, both of whom have represented Singapore in the Asia Cup 2015. So expect to see a very exciting match between these 2 players.
I mean, it's a bit sad for them to be facing each other in the first round, as a loss in the first Swiss round is usually quite detrimental for the rest of the game to get in the top cut. However, if you do make it up for the rest of the rounds, who knows?
At the same time, the way that the tournament pairings work, the tiebreaker is the opponent win percentage. So the fact that you're paired against, that you're paired against a strong player in round 1, you can kind of, depend on them to raise your resistance later on in the tournament, even if you do take a round 1 loss. The negative effect of having to play such a strong opponent in round 1 is that in round 2 you have to, if you lose the first game, you have to play against an opponent who will drop to 0-2 if you do win that first round. So, again, that first round win is just so important going into the way this tournament is formatted. So I expect both players to be going really hard at it. I know some players like to conserve information for later on in the tournament, but in this high-stakes regional tournament here, I expect all these players to go all out. Should be really exciting.
Well, yeah. It is the regionals, and they're actually fighting for 120 championship points at stake here. 3 times more than the standard Premier Challenges which Singapore has been having for the past few months.
Especially with most of these players having only played at Premier Challenges prior to this. Unlike Australia, who has more or less finished their regional circuit, this is the first regional tournament that is held in Southeast Asia. So, this is big. This is really big. I know nationals later on offer a much higher championship points payout, and that's what most of the big players are gunning for in order to earn that tasty invite to the Pokemon BGC World Championships. But this regionals is the first step for many of these players here.
I mean, 150 points, while it's not as high compared to, say, nationals, it's still quite a lot compared to the Premier Challenges that we've been having. And players would not want to risk not gaining those points to get if they really want to go to the World Championship. So, we shall wait until balls are set up for the first round of Swiss.
I think Melvin and Derek both have used rather similar teams throughout the entire season. I don't expect them to really change it up for this regionals. If they have a new team, I would expect them to save it for nationals. So I would expect them for this tournament to maybe go with something they're a little bit more familiar with, a little bit more comfortable with, to at least test the waters of the local metagame at this point in time. As we see Melvin and Derek shaking hands, and we are going to move into round 1 of Swiss of this 2015 Regional Championships here. Derek versus Melvin coming right up.
Well, as you mentioned, some players might be more used to using teams that they are comfortable with. They're more used to it, while some people like to change it up because you build your team early on. So now you see Derek's team on the top of the screen. We have Heatran, Scruffy, Gardevoir, Landorus, Braviary, and Amogus. While on Melvin's side, which you see at the bottom here, will be Kangaskhan, Aegislash, Rosenwash, Terrakion, Amogus, and Landorus.
So we see straight away there are some similarities within the two teams. I mean, we both have the... Melvin obviously using a team that is more similar to what he's been using with the Kangaskhan Aegislash and Amoonguss core. And Derek using what looks like a Trick Room team with that Scrafty, Heatran, Gardevoir, and the Amoonguss here. So this team is actually really popular in Japan, where Amoonguss and Trick Room Gardevoir are used to fire off really powerful pixelated boosted hyper voices in order to overwhelm the opponent in the 4 turns of Trick Room. So, I mean, definitely Derek's objective here is to set up the Trick Room.
Yeah, as you can see on Derek's side, you have a fake out setter like Scrafty, which is also quite a slow Pokemon which can take advantage of Trick Room very easily. And you have other Pokemon in slightly middling speed like Gardevoir, Heatran, Landorus, I'm not too sure about the Braviary, and slow Pokemon like Amoonguss which can, with its extremely low speed, will most likely go first in every turn during under Trick Room, and can put opponent's Pokemon to sleep right before they can make even a single move.
One interesting thing to note about Derek's team is that Braviary in the 4th slot there, in the 5th slot, sorry. Braviary is one of the few Pokemon that get the Defiant ability as its hidden ability, which means that Melvin's going to be really careful of bringing his Landorus into this matchup for fear of setting off this Braviary's Defiant unexpectedly.
I mean, Defiant is quite a popular ability. Usually you see on Bishop or competitive on Milotic, a similar ability to Defiant. So we see Derek setting out Amoonguss and Gardevoir.
And Melvin's going to go with his Kangaskhan Aegislash, going to try to get off as much offensive presence as possible, as Gardevoir does have that trace, tracing the inner focus, and that is a huge trace. Kangaskhan cannot fake out Gardevoir in this first turn.
Yeah, I mean, usually on the first turn, when you see a lead like this with no fake out on the opponent's side, on the Trick Room side, you want to fake out the Trick Room center so the Trick Room center will flinch and will not be able to send out, use its Trick Room. However, in this case, Gardevoir is lucky enough to actually trace the inner focus, not being immune to flinching from fake out or any other flinch moves, thus being able to set up the Trick Room in the first turn without too much problems.
Kangaskhan also has to be wary of attacking into this Amoonguss here, which is known to carry the Rocky Helmet item, which chips away 1/6 of the target's HP if it should just use a contact-based move, which basically all Kangaskhan's moves are.
And Kangaskhan, with his ability to hit twice under Parental Bond, will end up getting twice the damage instead.
Still though, I think in this case Derek is still probably thinking about protecting with Amoonguss here and his Gardevoir actually, as he does not want to be taking unnecessary damage from super effective Shadow Ball or Flash Cannon from this very threatening Aegislash on the field.
I mean, generally here you will see a Rage Powder to be actually a relatively safe move, as you can just Rage Powder and avoid any attacks. Kangaskhan will be able to fake out priority on Gardevoir because it wouldn't do much in the first place. And we see the Kangaskhan does Mega Evolve. Let's see whether it goes for the maybe a fake out or an attack.
But we do see Derek here going straight for the Mega Evolution, not going to keep that inner focus ability. Gardevoir Mega Evolving after Kangaskhan here. As Kangaskhan goes for the Protect, no fake out coming out from the Kangaskhan. Maybe Melvin's Kangaskhan doesn't have Protect here.
Oh, Gardevoir also goes for Protect, not setting up the Trick Room on the first turn.
As Amoonguss goes for the attack, nobody wants to take damage in this first turn. Does Aegislash. Aegislash goes for the substitute, and that is a huge play for Melvin in turn 1.
Melvin has pretty much the immediate upper side on the first turn. Substitute protects Aegislash from any attacks, and Aegislash being quite fragile in attack form. So, and hitting hard too. So he can pretty much plan off 2 attacks for free without having to worry about being attacked back, even under Trick Room or outside of Trick Room.
Amoonguss is going to go straight for the Rage Powder here, going to try to protect the Mega Gardevoir on the field, as Kangaskhan goes straight for the return onto Amoonguss. Does 40% of damage, does have that Rocky Helmet, going to chip away a bit of Kangaskhan's HP there. As Aegislash actually outspeeds Gardevoir, does that mean Gardevoir's going for the Trick Room here? Gonna go straight for the Flash Cannon onto Amoonguss. Is it gonna be enough to take out this Amoonguss here? Drops off the wing, that's the KO!
It is enough to take out Amoonguss. I mean, taking out quite a potential threat on Derek's side of the field, as Amoonguss is rather annoying to face under Trick Rooms, putting most of your Pokemon to sleep.
So we see a really interesting position here where Derek has lost a Pokemon, but actually has gained quite a fair bit in momentum. He's lost his Amoonguss, but now with Aegislash in Blade form, and with him able to bring in another Trick Room Sweeper, possibly his Heatran, under the Trick Room that he's just set up, Aegislash is in a pretty terrible position as we do see the Heatran making his appearance on the field, threatening that double Heat Wave Hyper Voice threat right now.
On Melvin's side of the field, his Kangaskhan does have Protect, so he could use Protect to stall out the Trick Room. However, his Aegislash, I don't think he carries, maybe it might carry King Shield to help stall out the Trick Room. And its substitute actually saves it for one turn, so he can land off an attack and maybe King Shield the next.
But we see Gardevoir switching out here, not wanting to take that potential Flash Cannon into its slot, into the Scrafty, gets that really big Intimidate onto the Kangaskhan, not affecting the Aegislash though behind his substitute. Aegislash gonna stance change, using his King Shield to block out any offensive attacks this turn. Let's see what Heatran goes for though.
I would imagine Kangaskhan to go for a Protect this turn too. Nope.
Heatran's gonna go straight for that Heat Wave. Gonna hit that Kangaskhan, drop it a little bit below half as Return comes out onto the Scrafty slot with the Intimidate, not even gonna drop it just below half. Good switch there by Derek though.
Letting off the Intimidate and having Scrafty to outright threaten the Kangaskhan. However, Heat Wave from Heatran is quite enough to take Kangaskhan out and takes out Aegislash's substitute, and Scrafty can deal it from there with Crunch.
Derek's in a very good position here actually. His Heatran can probably KO this Kangaskhan with another Heat Wave provided it connects, and through breaking the substitute on this Aegislash, if it's faster than the Scrafty and the Trick Room, I'm not sure how much speed Derek is running. Scrafty usually the slower Pokemon, but a Scrafty can get the knockoff to break the substitute of Aegislash. A Heat Wave didn't pick up a quick double knockout here.
A double knockout will help a lot in Derek's favor, being able to only 2 Pokemon that he has without much options to switch in and out. And Trick Room is still quite early in Trick Room, so Derek still has the momentum, and most likely is going to keep that momentum for quite some time.
Like you mentioned earlier though, Melvin's Kangaskhan does have that Protect, which will be instrumental in him trying to stall out this Trick Room that Derek has set up. 2 turns of Trick Room left, and the Protect is going to be able to stall out one of those.
Protect can only work for so much. Double protecting multiple turns in a row does have the risk of it failing, but for some players and some positions, it may be the best choice to actually stall out the Trick Room and then finally get momentum from there onwards.
We see both Melvin almost exhausting his timer there.
10 seconds.
Going to switch out his Aegislash, reading the play on the double target, and switches in Terrakion. This might be huge. If Scrafty goes for that knockoff onto the Terrakion slot and triggers his justified ability, that will be huge. The knockoff co-op onto the Terrakion!
And Terrakion does get his attack boost from Justified thanks to the Dark type knockoff from Scrafty.
Does reveal that focus edge, but that doesn't matter as Terrakion gets a 1.5 attack boost here. Heat Wave does go on to the Terrakion, no burn.
Well, now with a boosted Terrakion on Melvin's side, he may have the potential to actually take it from there. However, Trick Room is still up, so he still has to be a bit careful from now.
There's only 1 turn of Trick Room left though, so you have to imagine that Terrakion just has to protect here. And after this turn, Melvin is going to have a +1 attack Terrakion sitting on his field with Trick Room expired. So Melvin has somehow maneuvered himself into such an amazing position, considering his position, two turns ago.
I mean, it looks like Melvin was losing, but that switch into Terrakion pretty much just set him up for just using Rock Slide for the next turn onwards with a +1 attack. Quite a powerful attack to use from Terrakion. So we see now Derek is taking his time choosing what moves he wants to use, as having a +1 Terrakion is quite a scary thing to deal with, and he wants to deal with as fast as possible. But the Protect does comes out, protecting the Terrakion for the last turn of Trick Room.
The safe play coming out from Melvin here. Protect Sucker Punch is probably the best play he could have made to get as much damage off as he could possible before Kangaskhan goes down to the Drain Punch here, which is pretty much what we expected.
Yeah,
Scrafty is going to heal back a decent amount with that Drain Punch though.
And now the attack from Heatran wouldn't affect thanks to Protect.
Heatran does reveal that Earth Power going to that Terrakion slot, but now Aegislash is going to come back in. Very, very risky position here, as Terrakion threatens both the Heatran and the Scrafty on the field at the same time.
Well, Melvin does have a last Pokemon, and he ends up using a Aegislash instead, so it's kind of an interesting choice.
However, you have to remember that Derek does have that Mega Gardevoir in the back, which can take attacks from Terrakion all day long, which is 4 times resistance to fighting type moves. So in this case, Derek's priority has to be to remove that Aegislash from the field so that Gardevoir can come in safely.
I still find it rather interesting that Melvin actually sends it like Aegislash against a Scrafty and a Hitran, something that you wouldn't want to face against these 2 Pokemon. So I'm guessing maybe his backup Pokemon, his last slot that he has not revealed yet is probably an Amogus, as Amogus also is rather weak in this kind of situation, as he won't be able to do anything other than maybe the Scrafty.
The Amogus did switch out earlier though, meaning that it would have recovered 33% of its HP with that Regenerator ability. As we do see the Gardevoir coming back out, Derek making the hard read, predicting that Terrakion's gonna switch out actually from Melvin here, bringing back in his last Pokemon, the Rotom Wash, as Aegislash goes straight for the King's Shield, not wanting to take any damage from this Heatran Heat Wave. An interesting move there from Melvin to take out his key threat on the field, perhaps expecting it to be double targeted into.
Well, I mean, in hindsight, maybe keeping Terrakion on the field might be quite okay thanks to resisting to Heat Wave. However, it is rather quite a safe play against, say, Scrafty, or maybe a double target onto that slot.
We saw Derek try to bring in his Mega Gardevoir and to try to threaten that Terrakion, but Melvin made a really good switch to bring out his Terrakion into his probably very specially bulky Rotom to sponge the special attacking moves from Gardevoir and Heatran here. Better yet, Rotom Wash basically walls Heatran. Between Heat Wave and Earth Power, Heatran isn't going to be doing anything to this Rotom here.
Yeah, and Rotom, I mean, is a bulky Pokemon, so as you say, it most likely, walling Heatran is one thing, and it's probably going to be able to take attacks very well from Gardevoir, or maybe it's Scrafty. And, well, let's see what happens. Gardevoir does go for the Protect.
As Hydro Pump comes right out from the Rotom, gonna connect with the Heatran. Is it gonna be able to take it out? Oh! Heatran barely hangs on, but does Aegislash double target into this Heatran here? Oh, double targets into the Rotom, of course, but connects with the Heatran. But when connects with the Aegislash, that is huge. Aegislash falls.
Barely hanging on.
Though.
Not even a Focus Sash.
We've seen the leftovers, but I am so surprised to see that Heatran survive. Surviving this Heatran's, first of all, the Heatran surviving the Rotom's Hydro Pump, then the Aegislash surviving a Heatran's Heat Wave in Blade form.
I'm guessing that Melvin probably trained his Aegislash specifically to survive Heatran, considering that you see that just happening. And generally in Blade form, Aegislash doesn't really survive a lot with his very poor defenses of 50-50. So it's actually quite surprising that Aegislash actually managed to hang on with this much HP.
Could have been Melvin there who specifically trained his Aegislash to survive Heatran's Heat Wave here, as Heatran is a very prominent figure in the metagame. This introduces a very interesting position here, as we saw that Aegislash actually outsped Derek's Heatran there. So Derek's team is very slow, so I'm actually curious to see whether Gardevoir here can actually outspeed the Aegislash to pick up the KO with a Hyper Voice.
Gardevoir is most likely going to want to, as you said, want to take out Aegislash, as Aegislash does threaten Gardevoir if it's not knocked out, and Rotom can just get rid of the Heatran before it does anything to Melvin's side.
You can just feel the tension right now in this game. There's so much at stake. This is round 1 of Swiss, The player who loses this match is probably going to have a rough road trying to climb back up into the top cut. So both players are really taking their time here, as Derek does withdraw his Heatran, recognizes that a possible Hydro Pump into that. I'm going to bring back in his Scrafty to possibly sponge a potential Hydro Pump.
Yeah, both making plays, dragging, having back and forth plays, actually making good plays against each other. Oh, and Gardevoir takes the Thunderbolt from the Rotom, taking it quite well, but Flash Cannon does come out onto the Gardevoir. Oh no!
Gardevoir hangs on! The clutch survival! And the Trick Room comes out from the Gardevoir, reversing the speed! That is a huge, huge survival from Derek there.
We have seen 3 huge survivals in this game. Heatran surviving the Hydro Pump, Aegislash surviving the Heat Wave, and Gardevoir actually surviving the Flash Cannon and Thunderbolt.
Double target there. The bulk is real on that Gardevoir. Aegislash here possibly gave up a lot of special attack to be able to survive the Heatran Heat Wave, and that is showing dividends right now as Aegislash is unable to pick up that KO on Gardevoir even with the double target. And Derek successfully sets up the trick room for the second time, and this time it might just be a little bit too late for Melvin to pull it out. With Hyper Voice is going to be landing on this Rotom and Aegislash left and right.
It looks like Melvin had the upper hand at the start with Aegislash was surviving the attack, but with Trick Room setting up, there's nothing much Melvin can do right now.
Derek does suggest Gardevoir here though, predicting the Aegislash stance change into the back of the King's Shield. Bringing him back to Heatran, possibly going for a sacrificial play here. As Scrafty does get the knockoff onto Rotom, going to knock off its item here. The Citrus Berry denying Rotom its recovery as actually a fantastic play from Derek there, sacrificing his Heatran to bring back in his Gardevoir for free the following turn and pick up the KO onto the Rotom here.
Gardevoir is Derek's biggest attacker right now with Big Select Hyper Voice, so sacrificing one Pokemon just to make sure your main attacker that can finish a game for you to survive is a very good play, a very smart play on Derek's side, as Gardevoir is already low HP to begin with.
I really want to go back to how much thought Derek actually put into that play. He sacrificed Pokemon there. He's down 3-2 right now, but he is in a great position to pull up the game. Aegislash just used King Shield the previous turn, failed the second turn, Rotom gets to get off to protect, but Scrafty is going to get the knockoff onto the Aegislash here. Aegislash really needs the double protect as Aegislash goes down.
Giving Derek the free turn to attack.
The Hyper Force, of course, going into the Rotom to protect here, but the Terrakion is going to come back out and going to face down this Gardevoir in Trick Room. Things are not looking bright for Melvin here. He has to get off a series of protects in order to get back into this game, and right now, that looks really unlikely.
The only thing Melvin can really do right now is to get off a series of protects that you see and launch off a good bunch of rock slides and hopefully flinching the Scrafty, which is really... Oh, and Rotom actually survives this hit! So many survivors this game.
But the Hyper Voice is going to follow right up and pick up the KO on his Rotom Wash here. As Hyper Voice will close out this game unless, Melvin hasn't actually lost this game yet. Like, to be perfectly honest, he just needs to get off 2 more protects and get off a series of flinches on the Scrafty. But he does get off his double protect! Melvin's still in this. Hyper Voice is going to go back into protect, and there's... Oh! It expires!
Now let's see whether Rock Slide can connect on both Pokemon and maybe finish the Scrafty.
That's basically what... but close combat comes off onto the Scrafty. Not sure I agree with that play there. Gardevoir's going to get a free Hyper Voice onto this Terrakion here and take it out. Melvin possibly predicting a Gardevoir protect there, as the prediction does not pay off. Derek takes a very close game 1 here and goes into the series game 1-0.
That was a very close game with a rather good back and forth, and Derek actually making smart choices to sacrifice his Among Us at the start with Rage Powder taking in hits from Kangaskhan and I think it was Aegislash at the time, and also sacrificing his Heatran so that his Gardevoir can actually launch off free attacks.
I think Derek made two really good plays there, and perhaps, the match was decided on that play where he switched in his Heatran into the Thunderbolt, sacrificing it, predicting the Aegislash protect, and setting himself up for a Trick Room sweep between the Gardevoir and the Scrafty. Melvin, unfortunately, didn't play to his best out there. A Rock Slider to take out the Gardevoir and fish for a flinch on the Scrafty was definitely his best play, because then after that, he could have just close combat to the Scrafty for the KO. Possibly, overextending a bit too much on his prediction there. But, that was really close. It came down to the final turn, and that's exactly the kind of games we want to be seeing on stream right now.
It's a 6 rounds of speed, so you kind of have to play your best, and you don't really have the information that you will have in the best out of 3. So you really have to kind of pull out your tricks, do all your stunts, and then try and get as many wins from there as possible.
Wow, what a game to start off the match. The top players in the country facing off in the first round of Swiss. And a really well played and well managed games on both sides. You know, such a long game. You see that most of the other games had already finished. Everyone's basically watching this table one game here.
It's a very tense battle right from the start. Everybody's cheering for the survival of the protect of the Terrakion, the survival of the Pokemon. A lot of back and forth, a lot of key moments in the game, and
I wanted to survivals, definitely. The Heatran surviving the Hydro Pop, the Aegislash surviving the Heat Wave, and then finally the Gardevoir surviving that Flash Cannon and Thunderbolt double target. Huge plays from both sides.
A lot of key moments in this game, and you can't really pinpoint to one key moment that actually won in the game. So.
What I really liked about that game though was there was really minimal dice rolls. You know, very few misses. You know, the Heat Wave didn't miss that Rotom early on in the game, but that really didn't matter. Melvin getting out the double protect at the end made the match so much more exciting even. So, you know, a really good game to the end. And I think we're going to have Derek on stream shortly to discuss his game from his point of view.
Alright, come on, Derek.
Alright, is to go for rocks and creatures. I knew that the only thing that I could do is go for Hyper Voice and Dream Punch. So I think I would just go for it. Then I pray.
There were some really crucial survivals in the match, namely your Heatran surviving the Rotom Wash's Hydro Pump, as well as the Gardevoir surviving the Rotom Wash and the Aegislash double target onto the Gardevoir. Did you know that you were going to survive that, or were you really nervous about that play?
I'm not sure that they will definitely kill me, but I think there is a chance to survive because my Gardevoir is actually quite specially defensively built. So I just pray.
I want to talk a bit about your team actually because we did see some very interesting choices. We know that Amoonguss Mega Gardevoir has been used in Japan to very huge success. Is that what you base your team around, or did you come up to this team on your own?
Actually, I saw one of the video online that used Gardevoir and Amoonguss, the spread move. Then I realized that this core is actually quite interesting and it's not being used in those Asia Pacific or United States. So I think why not give everyone a surprise? So I start building around these two Pokemon.
We saw that team definitely does function. You were able to set up Trick Room not once but actually twice throughout the game. And you know that was basically what won you the game in the end. Being able to having the bulk to set up the Trick Room. Another thing about your team was the interesting flying type Pokemon that you have. We didn't get to see it on stream, but do you have any plans to bring it into the later?
Definitely. That's my secret report for later on.
Alright, then we won't talk too much about your secret technology for this tournament. Thank you, Derek. Very well played game to you and to Melvin as well, of course. We are looking forward to even better games for you in the future rounds, so good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.